Hey, what's going on today, guys? This is Brian LaSpada here today. I'm making a new video today on 7 signs, 7 benefits of semen retention. So today's video is going to be more for men that are trying to have more knowledge and they're trying to basically know more about semen retention. So these are 7 things that I experienced in my walk. Ever since I got off the sites, I got off, certain things that lust, fornication, whatever it may be, right? Disobeying the Most High's laws, right? Because the Most High says don't fornicate, flee away from sexual immorality. All right, I'll talk more about that in the video. Please like and subscribe and share this video to anybody else that any other brothers that are curious about this and just need more wisdom and knowledge. Cool. So the first point is mental clarity and focus. So 2 Timothy 1:7. So it talks about how God doesn't give you the spirit of fear. He gives you the power, love, and he gives you a sound mind, right? So a lot of people, when you're watching the sites and you can't keep your eyes focused on whatever task you're doing, that's the spirit of lust, guys. So a lot of those things that the sites are doing, those are demons trying to control you. They're trying to keep you, away from your purpose. They're trying to take away your energy, your spiritual energy. Remember, guys, we do not fight against flesh and blood. We fight against spirits. So with that being said, guys, when I got off the sites, mental clarity started popping up more. So if I was doing a task, whether it be like working at the gym or just doing anything in general, my focus was heightened because I'm not focused on lusting at other women. Because even it talks about that in the Bible, guys, Matthew 5:28, where it says if you look at a woman with lustful eyes, you create a fornication in your heart. So with that being said, you want to control where your eyes are going too, guys, because a lot of times out here, especially here in modern America, Babylon, a lot of these women, they like discretion. So you're gonna see, I'll talk about that a little bit more on this point. Cool. So number 2, masculine energy, becoming fearless. Yes. So with that being said, guys, if you look at these verses, Proverbs 28:1, it talks about how the righteous, the bold as a lion, and when you follow God's laws, flee away from sexual immorality and actually stray away from fornication, a God-fearing man, he's going to have the utmost confidence, so he has refuge with the Most High. So with that being said, guys, you're gonna be more fearless. You're gonna be more unapologetic about certain things that you stand on business on. So if you have a friend that that tries to make you because you gotta think, guys, a lot of these things out here, a lot of men are very effeminate, they're very masculine, right? So they're not really acting like real men, and that's the problem that we have a lot nowadays, especially with the Christians, the Christians nowadays, because you have a lot of men that are afraid to step on toes, right? There's nothing wrong with the way speaking the truth, right? Because a lot of people, they know they're going to get persecuted. So you don't want to be, like these soft men. No, even Jesus, when he came to earth, he's out there, rebuking the demons, like taking devils away from out of people, casting them out, flipping tables. So there's nothing wrong with being masculine, guys. Nowadays they're trying to there's a war on that. So being fearless, being unapologetic, that comes part of it. When you have your testosterone, when you actually retain your seed, you become strong like Samson. Yeah. So with that being said, there's nothing wrong with being a man, because that's what the Lord puts you on here for, right? And if you're not doing God's will and being a man, if you're being effeminate, a coward, right? The Lord doesn't need people like that. He needs warriors, right? Chopping demons' heads off. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm gonna get on to the next point. Number 3, stronger at the gym, physical activities. So a lot of people, you'll notice, especially if you're on the sites and you're very involved into that heavily. Even like myself, I felt like I didn't have energy. I lack motivation. I lack discipline. And I noticed when I got off the sites and I would start working out more, it's actually easier. And not only that, I'm pushing even heavier weight. I'm pushing like 400 pounds on the deadlift. I'm pushing 300 pounds on the squat. Like, I'm out there destroying the gym. And, you know, I'm not even that big of a guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm only 170 pounds. So that's saying a lot. You know, not to tune my own horn, but when you actually retain your seed, you know, it's like a life force. It's like Samson with his hair. You know what I mean? Because God told him, keep your hair, right? But when he lost his hair, he lost his life force, right? He lost his strength. And you got to think, this guy was, you know, took down armies, you know, 1,000 men plus, you know, taking them out. So you got to be retaining your seed, guys. So I got way stronger at the gym, you know, doing 20 plus pull-ups, whatever it may be. And, you know, it actually takes me a lot to even get tired now, right? Because when you're obeying God's laws, it's like a light to your lamp. You know, he's bringing life to you, right? So I got a lot of different results. I got a lot better results, a lot more performance. Cool. Number 4, disgusted by Jezebel's strange women and harlots. So Romans 12:2, it says, not conform to the pattern of this world, but the renewal of mind through Jesus Christ. So guys, you're going to see a lot of men nowadays, they operate in the Ahab spirit. So if you don't know about Ahab, so there's a story in the Bible that talks about Ahab and Jezebel. So Jezebel is the type of woman that's very masculine, you know, it's my way, your way. Like a lot of these women nowadays here in Babylon that are, you know, just making men effeminate. They're making them weak, you know, and you don't want that, guys. You don't want to be with Jezebels, the strange woman, the harlots, because those type of women, they have slain great men. You gotta think about people in the Bible, man, where, you know, the kings, freaking like King David or King Solomon, they all were brought down by the strange woman. So when you renew your mind through Christ and you're more obedient to the Most High, you're gonna realize all these things, these harlots, these strange women, these women that lack modesty, that lack femininity, you're gonna be disgusted by that. And you're gonna realize that you don't want that, because a lot of men out here, you know, you gotta think, people getting divorced, you know, they're, you know, being controlled by their woman, you know, they say happy life, happy wife. I mean, excuse me, it's the other way around. Happy wife, happy life. Like, no, you gotta stand on business. That's part of, you know, becoming fearless, become a man, right? Because you gotta think about it, guys. Here in America and Babylon, Satan has really, you know, changed the order of the family. Nowadays, it's woman above the man, where it should be the man above the woman. It even talks about in the Bible how the woman has to submit to their man, right? But a lot of these Jezebels, strange women, they don't want to submit to that, guys. Also, you, as a man, you have to, you know, test the spirits. You got to test people. You can't just take anybody in your life. You got to guard your heart, because a lot of these people, they may talk about God, or they may talk about Jesus, or whatever it may be, but it doesn't mean anything. You got to see the fruit, right? You should judge them by their fruits. Cool. So next point, number 5, God blesses you with sharper discernment. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding, for he shall make your path straight. Proverbs 3:5-6. So guys, when you start obeying God, the more you trust in him, the more he'll give you back, right? The more you lessen yourself, the more he shall exalt you, man. So you guys gotta start obeying his laws. You know, he says flee away from sexual immorality, you know, whether it be masturbation. If you guys didn't know, I'll be truthful. I have a testimony on this. When I first broke out of lust, right? I was sleeping, and I was actually in the spiritual realm. And it's crazy, man, because, you know, I was visited by the actual succubus. And a demon, I always tell people this, the devil is, you know, the satanic agents or whoever it may be that operates in those demonic forces, they don't have to come at you with the horns and the pitchfork and the red outfit. No, they come at you with a smile. They might shoot. Even the devil knows the Bible, man. You know, you gotta read the stories, right? Like, even he knows it. So you gotta really test the spirit, guys, and you really gotta have discernment, because especially in these last days, That's a lot of things going on. So with that being said, the more you trust in him, the more he sharpens your discernment, right? And that also involves reading his word, right? Because the word of God, you gain spiritual weapons, guys. The sword of spirit. Once you get that, you're out here chopping these heads off, man. These demons, they don't stand a chance. When they saw Jesus Christ walking on the earth, they already knew they stand no chance. Even the demons have to bow down. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, guys, God will bless you. God will bless you with sharper discernment. Cool. All right. Number 6. Besting temptation helps you with discipline in other areas in your life. So in James 1:12, it talks about how when you best temptation, you're rewarded the crown of life. So with that being said, guys, you're always going to be tempted. You're always going to be tempted. I'm tempted to even this day. But when you actually run away, crucify the flesh, be strong in spirit, make the flesh weak through fasting and prayer, and just overall reading your word, feeding yourself spiritually, right? You're gonna be stronger, guys. Like, especially with this discipline. Like, ever since I broke out that spirit of lust, watching the sights, it's crazy, man. Like, ever since I broke off that, you're gonna realize like a lot of things that the gym, whether it be a business or whether it be even my YouTube channel, right? You're going to start growing more and more, right? And the Lord's going to show you your path. He's going to give you more purpose for your life, right? So that's what I'm doing now. I'm teaching here on YouTube, right? Because that's what I'm called to do. So with that being said, on to the next point. Number 7, maintaining eye contact, more sociable. So this is the thing, guys. When you have semen retention, it's like there's a science behind it, for your pheromones and all that kind of stuff, right? You're gonna realize you're gonna get a lot of stares, right? Like, ever since I broke out of this lust, ever since I, freaking best temptation, ever since I actually follow God's laws, you're alive in this world. You will operate in His spirit, right? So with that being said, guys, you're gonna get a lot of stares. You're gonna get a lot of different people looking at you. They might even come up to you and talk to you, right? You might actually, the Lord might actually use you to preach the word to them. Excuse me, guys. So with that being said, you gotta really heed who you're attracting, though, because even the people that have devils inside of them, everything's spiritual, guys. They're gonna be attracted to you too, and they're gonna try to see if they can break you down. But that's why God, Yeshua, He's going to grant you discernment, right? So you can figure out who somebody operates in, what spirit they operate in. So with that being said, guys, these are the 7 points that I have for you. Mental clarity, gain focus, operate with sound mind. Number 2, masculine energy, becoming fearless, bold as a lion. Yeah. Number 3, stronger at the gym, physical activities. Number 4, disgusted by Jezebels, strange women, and harlots. Number 5, God blesses you with a sharper discernment, sharper mind. Number 6, besting temptation helps you with discipline in other areas in your life as well. Number 7, maintaining eye contact, being more sociable. All right. If you guys have anything else for me, please put it down in the comments below. Please like and subscribe and share this video out, guys. Help other people get the word. Also, show this to other guys, man. Because a lot of guys struggle with this, and that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm here to preach. If you guys have anything for me, like I said, please put it down in the comments below. Other than that, peace.